Hello friends, in this session we are going to discuss the structure of Indian banking or Indian banking structure or Indian banking system. Friends, regulator of Indian banking system is Reserve Bank of India, and this system comprises number one, the apex institutions, number two, the commercial banks, and then we have cooperative banks, and there are certain supporting organizations. Let us now see these structures one by one. So first of all, the apex level institutions. Friends, as I said, Reserve Bank of India is a regulator of Indian banking system. So it is also apex level institution for certain functions. What role is played by Reserve Bank of India? So first, it is regulator of banking system. It provides licensing to banking system. It provides license for branching. So it is regulator of banking system. It carries supervision functions. In addition, another important function it provides is it provides liquidity to the banking system. Different banks need liquidity at a different point of time, and Reserve Bank of India provides liquidity to those banks. It has certain schemes, and by way of those schemes, it provides liquidity support. Another apex level institution is National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. In short, we call it a NABARD. What role is played by NABARD? Friends, NABARD is regulator of cooperative banks, and it also regulates the regional rural banks. In addition, it provides refinance support for agriculture and rural development. So NABARD, it provides loans to cooperative banks and rural banks for further lending to agriculture, and this is known as refinance. So in addition to being regulator, it also provides refinance support to cooperative banks as well as to the regional banks. Then we have Export-Import Bank of India. In short, we call it Exim Bank. As the name suggests, it primarily deals with exports and also to some extent with imports into India. So it is facilitator of export trade. From India, lot of exports are made, and Exim Bank helps in improving the development of export trade. It has number of schemes for that purpose. In addition to this, it also provides refinance support for export credit. Banks provide export credit, and it provides loans to banks through various schemes, and accordingly that is called refinance. So Export-Import Bank, it is a facilitator of export trade. It also provides refinance support for export credit. For housing sector, we have National Housing Bank. National Housing Bank is a regulator of housing sector finance, and it also provides refinance for housing loans. So regulator of housing sector financing is National Housing Bank. Banks and housing finance companies provides loans, and it provides loans to banks and housing finance companies for further lending. And then we have Small Industries Development Bank of India, that is SIDBI. Now SIDBI provides refinance support to banks for MSE loans. In addition to this refinance, it also provides direct lending to MSE sector. So these are apex level institutions. They primarily provide support to the Indian banking system for different sectors of the economy. Now let us see the Indian banks. Friends, Indian banks can be segregated into three different categories. One is public sector banks, then we have private sector banks, and then we have cooperative banks. What is included in public sector banks? Friend, public sector banks include State Bank of India. So it is one bank. Previously, State Bank of India was having a number of associate banks. To start with, it had 7 associate banks. Over a time period, it merged all these banks into itself. And latest merger was of 5 associate banks from 1st April 2017. Then we have nationalized banks. Initially there were 20 nationalized banks, but one of these was merged with another nationalized bank. Now we have 19 nationalized banks. IDBI Bank. IDBI Bank used to be a private sector bank, but it is now a public sector bank. Then we have regional rural banks. Presently, there are approximately 56 regional rural banks. RRBs, they are merged amongst themselves. Initially, the number was 196, and over a time period, this number has come down to only 56. Private sector banks. In private sector banks, we have different categories. One is old private sector banks. These were opened long back, and some of these banks were nationalized, so they were converted into public sector banks. So presently the number is around 13. Then we have new private sector banks. So there are 9 new private sector banks like HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, Kotak Mahindra Bank, etc. Then we have small finance banks. So this is relatively a new concept. These banks started only in the year 2016. So presently there are about 6 small finance banks. Then we have payment banks. So payment banks is also a new type of bank. So this also started in the year 2016. So presently we have 3 functioning payment banks. The number of small banks and number of payment banks is increasing gradually. Then we have local area banks. These banks were set up long back, and some of these banks have now converted themselves into small finance banks. We have foreign banks. Those banks which are registered, which are incorporated outside India, and they have having branches in India. Some of these banks are having only one branch, and many of these are having more than one branch. The present number of such banks is around 43. Let us now see the cooperative banking system structure. So in cooperative banks, we have scheduled state cooperative banks. The number is approximately 19. We have non-scheduled state cooperative banks. The number is 14. So in all, these are 33, the state cooperative banks. Some of these are scheduled banks and some of them are non-scheduled banks. Scheduled urban cooperative banks, there are 54. Non-scheduled urban cooperative banks, we have 1507. And we have district central cooperative banks also. There are 366. So in cooperative banking system, we have state cooperative banks, we have urban cooperative banks, and we have district central cooperative banks. Within state cooperative banks, we have scheduled state cooperative banks and non-scheduled state cooperative banks. Similarly, in urban cooperative banking, we have scheduled urban cooperative banks and non-scheduled urban cooperative banks. Now, after these banks, let us see the supporting organizations. So, other organizations which primarily complement or support the Indian banks. So, one is non-bank finance companies. In short, we call them NBFCs. Friends, NBFCs can be deposit-taking NBFCs. So they can take deposit like banks subject to certain conditions. And there can be non-deposit taking NBFCs. So they are providing finance functions, but they are not taking deposits. And this category, they are eligible to take deposits. And they are registered with the Reserve Bank of India. Then we have asset reconstruction companies. So what is role of asset reconstruction companies? These companies help in resolution of stressed financial assets, that is NPA. To solve the problem of NPAs, they are providing a supporting function. They purchase NPAs from banks and then they try to recover those NPAs. So they acquire, that is, they purchase, then to recover those loans, they securitize those loans, they reconstruct those loans, and they also initiate a recovery process for recovery of those loans through courts or otherwise. We have credit rating agencies also. There are 6 popular credit rating agencies. What is role of these agencies? So primarily they do the credit rating of borrowers. Once credit rating of borrowers is done by credit rating agencies, it helps the banking system, Indian banks, to take credit decisions little quickly and based on information. Then we have credit information companies. So what role is played by credit information companies? They collect credit information from member banks and then they share this credit information with member banks. So presently we have 4 credit information companies. And then we have primary dealers. What is role of primary dealers? The primary dealers, they primarily deal in government securities. They purchase government securities, they participate in purchasing government securities, and they also create secondary market in government securities. So all these are organizations which are supporting the Indian banking system. Now after this supporting organization, let us see what is the size of business of scheduled commercial banks. So the size of business of these scheduled commercial banks in terms of aggregate deposits is this much: 1,08,051.5 billion rupees, and this is the amount in crores rupees. In crores. Cash in hand or balance with Reserve Bank of India So this is the amount of cash in hand which was there as on this date, and this is amount in crores of rupees. So this primarily the major portion of this is in the form of cash reserve ratio, which is maintained by banks with Reserve Bank of India. The investments, this is size of investments the banks have made in securities. So these are government securities and corporate securities. And this is size of loans and advances made by Indian banks. So this is amount in billion and this is amount in rupees crores. And as regards number of bank branches, it is approximately 1,36,000. In addition, there is a large number of ATM network. In addition, banks are now providing mobile banking facilities, prepayment instruments, etc. Now, after business of scheduled commercial banks, let us see another important area, that is important policy rates of Reserve Bank of India. So first we have repo rate. So repo rate was 6.25% as on this date. Please remember these rates are modified by Reserve Bank of India from time to time. And you have to update yourself with the current rates. Reverse repo rate. Reverse repo rate is a derivative of repo rate. So repo rate minus 0.25%. So this is 6%. Then we have marginal standing facility rate. So this rate is repo rate plus 0.25%. Then we have bank rate. So bank rate is also repo rate plus 0.25%. All these rates are the rates which affect cost of money. And we have another category of rates which affect liquidity. So rate affecting liquidity, one is cash reserve ratio. Presently cash reserve ratio is 4% of net demand and time liabilities. This is the money which banks have to keep with Reserve Bank of India. And we have statutory reserve ratio, SLR. So presently SLR is 20.5%. Major portion of SLR is in the form of investment in government securities. Well friends, broadly this is the structure of Indian banking system. I am sure the contents of this video will benefit you. Thank you for watching this video.